What is up, everybody? Welcome to the final thoughts video for UFC 261. Going to be breaking it down here, talking about, bets, Draftkings, and all that good stuff, answering any questions you guys have, and chatting up with you guys. But yeah, I have a ton of action for this card. Probably the most action I've had all year. And there's just so many spots on this card, and I might even be adding some more, but I have like 8 bets, like something like that. So a ton of action. And would love to make it 5 winning weeks in a row. Just squeaked by with a win last week thanks to Gerald Meerschaert by submission. But yeah, 5 winning weeks in a row would be sweet, especially on this card where I have so much action on it. But yeah, what's up, everybody in the chat? I see you there. Let's see what we got here. Who else is waiting? Yeah, Lucas, you're in here like at 5 o'clock. Impressive there. What's up, Arnold, Shevchenko, Weili, Marty, Crute, 4-leg parlay. I like them all. Plus 165. What's up, Dustin? Let's go. What's up, Big Brady? I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a violent night. I'm kind of with you there as well. What's up, Maine? Looking for winners. I'm looking for some winners as well. Tom, going to cook some eggs on toast and great for the show. I like it. What's up, Kyle? Hey, Brady. Hope you're keeping well, pal. 3 champs to retain. I think so. But would I be shocked if one of them pulled it off? Not really. But I do think all 3 champs retain the belt. What's up, Vince? How you doing? What's up, TJ UFC 261? Let's get it, boys. I agree. Let's get it. Got your eggs done. There you go. Big Brady, can you give a special shout out to Kelly Jordan? She's a fan and is watching now. Yeah, what's up, Kelly Jordan? Hopefully you're doing great. What's up, Brady? Good luck for you on Saturday. Good luck to you as well. Shoot Proof. What's up, DFS fan? What's up? UFC 261 is going to be fire. Yeah, UFC 261. I mean, this card is fantastic. The prelims, like the early prelims, are a little bit iffy. Maybe in a lot of names you guys might not know about. But the main card, the main card's fantastic. The 5 fights on the main card, the pay-per-view, are, amazing. And the 3 title fights, kicking off with Anthony Smith, Jimmy Crute. You have Uriah Hall, Chris Weidman's going to be a fun fight. And yeah, I'm ready for it. So before we get started into the video, I do want to shout out the sponsor, Pub Sports Radio. Go check out over there, Pub Sports Radio Live. I go live on there every Thursday. I bring a new guest on each week, talk some DraftKings, talk some bets. So go check that out. Go subscribe to them. Just recently hit 2K subs over there on the new channel. And yeah, going live tomorrow. I did it last week, kind of on short notice. I went live 1 hour before the fight started, and I'm going to be doing the same thing tomorrow, going live, I think around like 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So go check that out. And other than that, we'll kind of get into it here. So some good stare downs, like everyone. Yeah, if you guys can hit the like button, that would be appreciated. Also subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Have a lot of content still coming your guys' way. Have the betting breakdown video tomorrow, and then of course that live stream. Morning, Brady. Pumped for this pay-per-view. I'm pumped as well. Can't wait for tomorrow. Yeah, it should be a really fun fight. What's up, Jack? What's up, DFS? Let's get this bread. I agree. Went to the presser and weigh-ins. Can't wait to get the fights tomorrow. Yeah, this is it's going to be a great card. But we'll get into it here, starting with the first fight of the night. And I shouldn't be this excited for the first fight of the night, but I am, I guess. You got Ariane Carnelossi going against Liang Na. And interesting fight here. It kind of reminds me of the fight we were supposed to see last week in the Zara Farron and Josiane Nunez fight. Kind of like a really weird, low-level fight. And that's what we're going to have here kicking off the card. We have Carnelossi, who she's like very short. I think she's like 5'1", 5'2", but she is probably the most jacked on the card, but she is jacked to the max. And then you have Liang Na, who's going to have a pretty decent size advantage. I think she has like a 5 or 6 inch height advantage and a reach advantage as well. And then you see him at the face-offs, and she was looking a lot more taller than Carnelossi there. But like I said, Carnelossi is absolutely jacked. So it's an interesting fight. I think it should be somewhat of a hilarious fight, actually. Like you take a look at Liang Na, she comes out there. She spams takedowns. She spams submissions. I didn't see any striking at all from her. So it should be an interesting fight. I'm curious to see if she does get Carnelossi down. If she does, I think she could have some success. Tons of submissions on her record. Tons of finishes on her record. And it's crazy because this fight, according to the odds, is the most likely fight to end inside the distance. And it's weird to say that because usually we think women's fights, they tend to go to the distance. They tend to hit those overs. And that's not the case here. This fight is the most likely to end inside the distance. And it's also crazy because this is a 115-pound fight. But I do expect violence here. And I do have 2 bets on this first fight of the night. I took the under 2.5 rounds, minus 125, 1.5 units on it. That line has been absolutely smashed. It's like minus 190 now, but luckily got in early. I did miss like the opener, which was plus money for some reason, but got minus 125 there. And then also, I think you can get, I think it's still on a couple books where you can get the fight where the round 3 does not start at just barely plus money. I think that's a good play as well. But I have the under 2.5. And I also took a shot on Liang Na by submission plus 500 and have 0.25 units on that. Kind of a little sprinkle. If you guys know me, you guys know that I like taking shots on props I feel like are off. Like, for example, the Gerald Mearshart by submission prop last week was plus 290. Obviously, that line was off. That was his win condition right there, a submission. And I think if Liang Na wins, it's going to be a submission. It's going to be in the first round. So did take a small shot on that, but ultimately I am looking for a finish. I do think that if Carnelossi can A, stuff the takedowns, or B, not get submitted in that first round, round and a half, I do think she takes over and gets a late finish in like this late second round, early third round. Because Liang Na, if she does not get that submission, she gasses out, she quits, and I do see a finish coming from Carnelossi. But would love to hit that sub prop for Liang. That would be a big win there. But ultimately, I do want the under 2.5. And from a DraftKings perspective, I'm going to be really heavy on this fight. I'm going to have a ton of ownership each way. Carnelossi, I think she's a very good play. Liang Na, I think she's a very good play at her price. I think if she does win, it's based off a takedown submission. I think if Carnelossi wins, it's probably a knockout. So, yeah, definitely a fight you want to look at. I think it's going to go under-owned because nobody likes playing that first fight of the night. We see the first fight of the night always going under-owned, and then also, like, nobody knows who these fighters are. So I do think it's going to go under-owned. I'm going to be way over the field. So hopefully they start off with the finish and a good score there. But should be a very fun fight. I can't believe how much I'm looking forward to this fight, but hopefully it does end in some violence. And like I said, it's the most likely fight to end inside the distance on the card. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Anybody playing this fight? I don't know if I'd bet Carnelossi at minus 220, especially seeing the weigh-ins. I think Liang Na looked a lot bigger than her. 2-fight parlay, Usman and Weili. I don't hate it. Do you think Andrade can pull it off? I think she could, but a ton of money's coming in on Shevchenko. She just hit minus 500. Let's see what we got here. Does Masvidal at the weigh-ins make you a bit more worried about the main event? Can't remember the last time he looked that ripped. No, I'm not all that concerned, really. What's up, James? How you doing? I'm in live. I never get a chance to listen live. What's up, Donald? Glad you can join us here. Let's go. What's up, Sosa? How you doing? Let's see what we got here. 2 bets. Let's cash. Easy money. Baptisms. I'm tarping up the walls tomorrow night because there's going to be a lot of busting with this lineup. Wait, is Chris Weidman really only making $7K? No, that's the salaries for the DraftKings. What's up, Big Hotel? Good afternoon, Brady. Much love from Vancouver. What's up, Big Hotel? How you doing? Pooped for this week. I believe you mean pumped. I'm pumped as well. Carnelossi wins in which round? I think she can win in pretty much every round, but if I had to take a guess, it'd be like second or third. Bring the holy water. There's about to be a baptism, maybe. I'm in on the under at minus 201 unit. Yeah, that line got steamed. I mean, everybody seems to be on that, and probably for a really good reason. So Liang never won by decision. Liang's only been to decision one time in like 20 fights, so I definitely agree there. Carnelossi round 3 plus 800. Sounds interesting. Not bad there. Why Oliveira, we'll talk about it. What's up, Brady? Shout out from Missouri. What's up, Randy? How you doing? Liang Na is a can. She could be. I kind of like her style. I think it's an exciting style. I don't think she's that great, but it's gonna make for a really exciting fight. All right, so getting to the next fight, yeah, kind of probably the toughest fight to call on the card just because we don't have a lot of information on really both these guys, especially from the Iori Kulang side. But we have Molina versus Kulang here, and Molina, some money's coming in on him on late. We saw it was a pick 'em all week, and then now we finally see Molina minus 110, minus 115 on some sites as well. Iori plus 100, plus 105. Yeah, this is going to be a really big pass here. I'm taking Molina just based off the fact that I've seen more of him. I think he has a very good ground game. I believe he's a purple belt in BJJ, training at Glory MMA and Fitness with James Krause. Iori, there's like 3 or 4 fights. I've never seen him off his back, so it's really just taking a guess here. I'm taking a shot in the dark, and I'm going to go with Molina. I do really like what I see from his ground game, and I do think if he does get Iori down, I do think he'll have some success. Iori on the feet, I don't know. He's decent. He's extremely hittable. I think this should be an exciting fight, but I am banking on Molina getting this fight down to the mat, controlling him, and maybe finding a submission. But this is a really, really big pass. And these first 3 fights, there's just not a lot of information on these Chinese fighters because they have a ton of fights on their records. It's just there's like not a lot of tape available out there. But I'll go with Jeff Molina to get it done. I think on DraftKings, this is somewhat of an interesting fight to target. You take a look at Molina in the finish stats here. He has an 88% finish rate, 63% by submission, 25% by knockout. And Iori's been submitted in half of his losses. He's been submitted in 3 out of his 6 losses there. So interesting thing to note, Iori does have a 39% finish rate, which is the worst on the card. So from a DraftKings perspective, I'll actually sprinkle in probably both these guys just because of the ownership. But I'm a little bit interested in the Molina side because maybe he can get that submission. And I do think these guys, both of them, are going to be like really, really, really low owned here. So I'm going to take Molina. I'm going to pick him to win. I'm not going to bet it. But as far as the DraftKings perspective goes, I do have some interest in this fight because I do think it's going to be the lowest owned combined fight on the card. So I do want to be a little bit overweight, not crazy about it, but DraftKings is weird this week. It's weird because you see these 5 fights up top on the main card. They're going to carry so much ownership, especially the 3 title fights. They're going to have all the ownership. I think we see one of these first 3 fights possibly find the optimal lineup, and these first 3 fights are going to be so low owned. So for that reason, I will be sprinkling a little bit of ownership on all 3 of these fights, especially from the first fight. But I do think you need to get a little bit different because what is everybody going to do? They're going to base their lineups off of the 3 title fights. They're going to base their lineups off of the 5 fights on the main card. And I get it, but you do probably need to get a little bit different for this card. So I'm going to take Molina. Like, not much confidence, but from a DraftKings perspective, that's where I do have a little bit of interest. Usman's name about to be Looseman. Looseman? I don't get it. Loserman, you mean? I say Ori gets it done by decision. Molina is really, really bad and looked awful. And yeah, he's not. Both these guys aren't great. But I will slightly side with Molina to hopefully get it down to the mat. Molina's got this. I like patience as well. Who are your 3 certs by decision? You mean like who do I think are going to win by decision? I guess Kamar Usman. Maybe Pat Sabatini. I think he win by decision. I don't know. I think there's going to be a lot of finishes on this card. Don't like either side on this one, but I do think Iori by decision plus 125 or Molina by sub plus 450 would be the way to go. Molina by sub is tempting. Yeah, I looked at that as well. You see plus 450, plus 555 on my book. Yeah, that's probably the way I would look. I just really don't want to invest any money on this fight. There's just not much information. Like I said, I've watched every single fight I could of Iori, and there was not one time where I was able to see him on his back. So just not enough information for me personally, but if you want to take a shot on the submission prop for Molina or the decision prop for Iori, I do think those are the most likely outcomes. If you are only able to bet on 3 fights, which would they be? It would be the Usman fight. It would be the Danab Bakkarel fight. And it would be probably the Carnelosi Liang Na fight. I really do like that under there. Usman, Chef, Bakkarel, Crute, Sabatini parlay. I like it. I mean, not something I personally do. I like to keep my parlays to a 2-legger, but I think they all 5 win there. Carlos Subbrady, I'm up 2 weeks in a row. I'm going for Molina. There you go, Carlo. Congrats on being up 2 weeks in a row. Hopefully you make it 3 here. Molina. A lot of people are on Molina, but the line isn't moving. The line's moving slightly now, but really nobody probably should be betting this fight, to be honest. Early prelim fights. Early prelims, most of the fights end inside the distance. Yeah, we kind of see that too. You're right. I can definitely see a lot of these fights surprising a lot of people. Like, that's why I want to be a little bit overexposed from a DraftKings perspective on this Molina fight. I think, like I said, it's going to be the lowest owned combined fight on the card. At least it's what I'm projecting. All right, guys, we have 132 in here. Let's get those likes up. Let's try to get to 100 likes by the time we get out of here. Also, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And then be sure to tune into the live stream tomorrow, going live at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, 1 hour before the fights, just chatting out with you guys a little bit more. By then, I'll have all my bets placed. I'll have all my DraftKings done and all that good stuff. Usman's going to TKO Masvidal later on, 100%. Maybe. If he does, hopefully it's late in the fight. All right, so we'll get into the next fight, and we have another Chinese fighter who has like a ton of fights. I'll get the exact number here. I think it's like 21 fights, 20 fights for Rong Zhu here. And the dude's 21 years old. He's been fighting since he was like 16 years old. It's insane. And another instance where a little bit more tape on this guy, but not as much as I'd like to see. From what I see, though, I think he's very good. I think out of, Rong Zhu, Uh Kulang, and Liang Na, I think he's probably the best prospect out of all three. And then you're going against Rodrigo Vargas here, who is 0-2 in the UFC. He lost to De Silva, and then he lost to Brock Weaver with one of the nastiest illegal knees you'll ever see. I mean, Weaver was clearly sitting down, and then Vargas kneed him right in the face. It was disgusting, especially because I had some Vargas on DraftKings, and he was looking very good in that Weaver fight. But anyway, like, I think on the feed, it's probably Rong Zhu all day. I guess the only concern I'd have would be if Vargas does take down Rong Zhu. I think, Rong Zhu can even take down Vargas. I mean, we saw in the De Silva fight, De Silva took him down, controlled him pretty easily. And Rong Zhu has some really good ground and pound. I can definitely see a TKO from the mat there. But this fight's interesting. I was looking really hard at the over 1.5. At first, I was like, man, why are the odds makers setting this at 1.5? But then you go look through the record, and these guys are both like finishers. Like Rong Zhu has an 89% finish rate, 65% by knockout, 24% by submission, and then Rodrigo Vargas has a 91% finish rate. So that averages out to a combined 90% finish rate between the two. 64% for Vargas and 27% for knockout, and then 27% by submission. And then you take a look at Rong Zhu. He's lost all three of his losses are by submission. Vargas has been submitted before. Both guys never knocked out. I don't know. Like I said, I was looking at the over, probably going to pass at that point. I think this fight could kind of surprise people and maybe end in a finish just with the styles of both guys. I think they're going to go after it. Would not be shocked if this fight did finish. Rong Zhu is going to be so low owned. Like, nobody's going to play this guy. You have Usman up there. You have Shevchenko up there. You have Jimmy Crute up there. You have Zhang Weili up there. Nobody's going to play Rong Zhu. He's going to be very low owned. And for that reason, I actually have somewhat of interest in DraftKings. Not going to go crazy on it, but I do want to be at least a little bit overweight to the field because this guy is a finisher. And I don't know if Vargas is UFC caliber. And as far as Vargas goes, I don't know, maybe 7,100. It's not a bad look as like a pump play. But I think these first three fights as a whole are going to go extremely under-owned on DraftKings, and I will be targeting them a little bit. Of course, I do want to target the fights up top a ton, but these fights down low, and we see it time and time again, a lot of these fights that a lot of people aren't expecting to score very well, they tend to do so. But I will take Rong Zhu. I don't want to bet it. I don't like that line. I don't like any of the props. I was looking at the over 1.5, but I think that's a very dangerous bet there. But it probably does hit. So one more night. Give me the Rong. I like it. I just can't get my head around the competition. Wrong faces. Literally fought a guy that was 0-4. I'm passing on this one. Possibly a under or over bet though. Yeah, I wouldn't bet on Rong Zhu here. But like I said, I think he's the best fighter out of the three Chinese prospects coming in here though. Finish win for Zhu, but the over 1.5 rounds. Possibly. A lot of his wins are early in the first round. I got a lot of 2 and 3 leg parlays on this card. Judges kill parlays, keep them small like Brady does. Be telling you to. Yeah, I'd keep the parlay small. Pat Sabatini, Valentina, Zhang, Usman are all locks. Out of those four, I'd probably only consider maybe one of those fighters locks. I mean, there's not really many locks in UFC. Vargas looked large at weigh-ins. Yes, he did. With that grown man strength, do you think Zhu being super young could play against him? It definitely could. Yeah, Vargas is up there in age, isn't he? I think Vargas is like 35. Yeah, 35 years old. So he's going to be 14 years older than Rong Zhu here. So it could. I'll be sprinkling in my Vargas as like a pump play. Not a ton of it, but I will be sprinkling a little bit. Is Rong Zhu worth a look at plus 110? I'd say it is, I guess, but Vargas very durable, never been knocked out. I just don't want to invest my money on this fight, to be honest with you, but it could be a decent look. I see Vargas by KO. He definitely won the stare down. Yeah, he won the stare down. Maybe. I mean, the dude's 0-2. He has not looked great. Maybe he can surprise people here. But I'm not betting Rong Zhu at that price. Brady, have you seen the advanced stats section added to the bet stats? It's awesome. I have seen that. I have seen it. Weili and Valentina lock parlay. I mean, I think they both win, but I don't think either are locks. Feel like everyone is parlaying 3 champs together. That won't end well. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But yeah, that's what everybody's doing because it is plus money. I see a ton of people doing that, which is a little bit sketchy. All right, but we'll get into the next fight, and I'm going to have another bet here. We have Dana Bakkerel going against Kevin Natividad, and Bakkerel is one of the biggest movers on the card from a line perspective. I really wasn't expecting all this much line movement, but opened up around minus 135, minus 130, currently minus 190, minus 200 on some books. Kevin Natividad opened up like plus 120, currently plus 165, and I got in early last week. I placed like 3 or 4 bets early last week, so destroyed the line movement this week. The line movement on this card has been absolutely insane, and I have a 1.5 unit bet on Dana Bakkerel at minus 138. I absolutely love that line. Where it's at now, I don't hate it, but minus 200 is getting a little bit too wide for my liking. But if you got in early, if you got around like the minus 150, minus 160, even minus 170, I think it's a pretty solid line there. And yeah, just not impressed with Natividad. And his UFC debut absolutely looked horrendous, honestly. Like his striking defense is not there. Miles Johns, the wrestler who has like 2 or 3 knockouts on his entire career, knocked out Natividad there. He was jabbing him up. Everything that Miles Johns threw, it landed, it looked like. And I'll be honest, I picked Natividad to beat Miles Johns in that fight based off the fact that you take a look at Natividad, his takedown defense is phenomenal. His defensive wrestling is phenomenal. And he stuffed all the Miles Johns takedowns. So he did exactly what I wanted to. And I thought, hey, maybe he can outstrike, the wrestler in Miles Johns. And it was not the case at all. Miles Johns made him look absolutely silly. And I've been saying it all week. You can get away with being hittable against some of these guys on the regional scene. You can get away with being hittable against Miles Johns for 2.5 rounds, but you cannot get away with being hittable against someone in Dana Bakkerel who can absolutely crack. So I like Bakkerel here. I have the minus 138 in my pocket. I might be adding on a little bit with the KO prop. Natividad in his 2 losses, he's lost by KO. I do think this is going to be a war. I do think these guys are going to stand there and bang. I do think that Bakkerel is the harder hitter. I think he's the better striker by a decent margin. And the KO prop is something I might be looking at adding. If I was to add another play on the card, that's one of the plays I'm looking at. Bakkerel by KO plus 245. I see it at plus 275 on some books. It just makes sense. I mean, this guy's going to hit hard. He's going to get opportunities to find the knockout. Natividad has no striking defense. He relies on his toughness. He relies on that chin. And he's been knocked out 2 times. So, yeah, might be something I add there, but I'm pretty high on Bakkerel in this fight. And it's weird because I see literally like nobody out there, maybe a couple people picking Natividad, but I see like the majority of the people out there going with Bakkerel. And it definitely does reflect in the line movement, but I don't really see many people on there on Natividad. So give me Bakkerel on DraftKings. I like it. 8,500. I think he's live for that KO. Natividad, for him to win, I don't think he's going to win this fight on the feet. I don't think he's going to knock out Dana. I'd be pretty shocked if he did that. Dana, very tough guy, very durable, never been finished in his career. I think if Natividad is going to win, it's going to have to be that wrestling game, getting takedowns. But I don't think he has, A, the cardio to do it, B, the control to do it. I don't think he can control Dana, who does not accept being on bottom and is very hard to take down. And C, I don't think he's big enough. We saw at the weigh-ins today, Dana Bakkerel looked a lot bigger than Natividad. So, yeah, very high on Dana here. And like I said, I might be sprinkling in that KO prop a little bit as well at plus, like I said, plus 275 on some books, which is pretty insane. So what do you guys like here with Dana and Natividad? Is anybody taking Natividad? It's just weird. Like I see like nobody taking him. Vince says Brady has those in his model too. Patreon, yes, sir. Hopefully I pronounce this right. Bengchord Singh Sai. What do you think I should bet on as I need money? Thank you for the dono. I would take a look at Carnelosi Liang. I like that under. I think that's one of my favorite plays there in the fight, the under 2.5 there. I'll talk about it later, but I like Kamar Usman as well. Maybe Kamar Usman by decision, something to look at, but those are probably the 2 spots I'm liking the most this week. What's up, Jenner? How you doing? Ella, if you need money, you shouldn't be betting, champ. Hey. What's up, Spencer? How you doing? Any chance Roberson can just stand in Allen with Allen and win? We'll talk about that soon, but oh yeah. Not looked terrible. I wouldn't say he looked terrible. But in the second fight, he looked like the stiffness was gone. Yeah, maybe it's one of those things where, maybe not the best debut, but yeah, he looked very good in his second fight there. Let his hands go. Dana round 2 KO. Prop is what I might dabble in. There you go. I got plus 255 on the KO. Natividad can't do anything with the drugs. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Funny you say that, because he came into the UFC and he looked like a completely different fighter than on the regional scene. And even on the regional scene, like, he wasn't something to write home about, but I definitely agree there. Back rail by Mongolian Warrior Spirit. Yeah, the dude's tough. He does not. He has no defense at all. Like I like to say, he blocks punches with his face. We're also very high. Yeah. Abdulrazak Al-Hassan, he got me. I hope we don't see him in the UFC again. I mean, he's losing to Jacob Malkoun is just not a great look. But completely different fight here. Dana Bakkarel, I think, is much better than Abdul. And it's crazy to see what happened with Abdul. So hyped. 3 fights in a row he lost. Back row to the moon. Missed out on the line, though. I'm on your Patreon, but didn't know who back row was. That's on me, but very confident on back row, especially with David's last few fights. Yeah, I got in last week as early as possible. Like, this was actually a fight I was looking at betting potentially for like the past month. And when I finally got into it, I was like, yep. Saw the minus 138, had to hop on. Yeah, jab's not going to KO Masvidal. Masvidal has a chin and cardio, unlike Gilbert Burns. Go in the house. Hello, what's up, Tajik? How you doing? No volume. I mean, he threw volume. He threw a ton of strikes in the Johns fight. The problem was he landed 23% of those strikes. So maybe the no accuracy Natividad, and it's just insane. Like, it's crazy how bad he looked. I will never bet. Hey, good idea. Natividad is a live dog. Maybe, like I said, if you can use that wrestling game, but I just don't see it. We'll talk about it soon. I think if they both win, it's both by decision. I agree. Is the fight? Somebody always asks this every week. No, the fights are tomorrow. What's up, Nick? I was waiting on Raz to put his gloves in the center of the octagon. Guess he didn't see last week's episode. Yeah, he didn't put him in the octagon. I was kind of upset about that. Man, Jacob Malkoun, the dude looked like minus 1,000. He looked like she should have been the biggest favorite on the card. It's just crazy how, some of those things work out. Insane. Just took the KO. Oh, where are you getting plus 300? Let me know. I'll hop on that with you. Plus 300. Give me some of that. Let's win some bets. I agree. 4 winning weeks in a row, just barely squeaked by with like 0.53 units last week, thanks to Gerald Mearshart sub prop, but hopefully make it 5. I mean, I have a ton of action on this card. Natividad couldn't hit water if it fell out of a boat. Back row should piece him up. I definitely agree. He could land takedowns. I just don't know if he can hold him down. Plus 330. Goodness. Move on. Next fight. Appreciate that. Speak the truth. All right. So, but yeah, we'll move on. We'll listen to Speak the Truth here, and we'll move on to the next fight. We have Pat Sabatini going against Tristan Connelly. I like Sabatini here. A lot of people are looking at taking the dog shot on Connelly. I don't really get it. I mean, yes, he pulled off an upset as like a plus 350, plus 400 underdog against Michel Pereira, but this is a completely different fight. He's coming off of a layoff. He's coming off of a surgery. The guy's 35 years old. And we got to remember that Michel Pereira gassed himself out on the walk to the octagon. I mean, the guy did a full dance routine. He was doing cartwheels, flips, back flips, front flips before the fight. And he was pretty much gassed before the fight started. You go into the fight a little bit, and the guy's completely done after those first, 2.5, 3 minutes. So we got to remember, and even then, after he gassed out so bad, the fight was, somewhat competitive. But he did pull off the upset. Pat Sabatini's not going to be doing front flip. He's not going to be doing back flips. He's not going to come out with a full dance routine. He is ready to go. He's hungry. He was supposed to fight like a month and a half ago against Alves. Alves missed weight by like 11 pounds. And I really do think Sabatini's the truth. He opened up plus 105. Missed that line. He's now minus 240. maybe a little bit wide. I'd kind of put him around like the -210, -220. I do think he wins. I think he's better in every single aspect of MMA than Connelly, honestly. He's younger. His striking's much better. His takedown defense is much better. His offensive wrestling is much better. His ground game is much better. I just don't see where Connelly is better than Pat Sabatini. But yeah, I get a lot of people are taking a shot on Connelly this week. I just don't think it's the best idea. The guy's 35, surgery coming off of it, the layoff. He beat Michel Pereira, gassed out Michel Pereira. I think Pat Sabatini gets it done. No play for me here. No play for me. I missed the line. If I could have got it like -150 around there, I would definitely take the shot. But -240, I'm going to pass. I already have a ton of action on this card. I'm going to sit back and watch. I guess I was looking at the under somewhat. But even then, Connelly's a black belt. Sabatini's a black belt. Could cancel itself out. Sabatini's not really much of a knockout threat. I can see him winning by decision. But it's going to be a pass for me. But I do really do like Sabatini. I do think he's the truth. I do think he's a prospect to definitely look out for. And I do think he passes this test with Tristan Connelly there. Could be somewhat close, though. I mean, Connelly's no slouch, but it could be somewhat close. Connelly not look great at weigh-ins. Yeah, Connelly's coming down 2 weight classes since he's fought Michel Pereira. Yeah, Sabatini's ready. Another up-and-coming Philly wrestler that is going to have success. Yeah, he trains with Sean Brady. Yeah, Al-Hassan really got us. He did. The full head no take. Yeah, my goodness, I couldn't believe it. I got Sabatini. All we remember is the Pereira fight for Connelly. Lucky upset. Hasn't done much since. Sabatini for the... Yeah, I mean, it's a classic case of a little bit of the recency bias, especially like where the line opened. It's insane. Yeah, Pat looked good. Yeah, didn't even touch it on the DraftKings. Yeah, he's sneaking for DraftKings for sure. He's going to get takedowns. Connelly's takedown defense is really non-existent. He accepts bottom position. He's going to get control time. I don't know if he finishes, but I do think he's going to be very, very low owned around his price range because you have the guys up top, the girls up top up there. So I think Sabatini is sneaking. I will have some Sabatini for sure. I won't have much Connelly. Yeah, he didn't look great. Let's see here. Is the fight tonight? No, the fight's tomorrow, 6:00 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, he is. I agree. I think 3-round decision is most likely. I like Pat, but -230, not so much. Favorite prop, would like a little exposure. He looked good. I'd say decision, but the guy's a beast. Like the guy is a legit black belt, so I wouldn't be shocked if he submitted Connelly or maybe a TKO. Not really any props I'd like. Yeah, Sabatini by KO is something crazy like +950. I think he only has like 1 knockout on his record though. Do these dudes not have Google to find out when the fight? I mean, the fights are on Saturday. You can bet the Usman not KO. All right, so we'll get into the next fight here, and we have a very good one. We have Brenden Allen going against Karl Roberson. And interesting line movement here. So Brenden Allen opened at -150, currently -160. Honestly, I think this fight should be closer to a pick'em because how can you trust a guy like Brenden Allen, who in his last fight we thought, hey, maybe he'll take down Sean Strickland. Maybe he'll go to his strength and use that ground game. But no, he wanted to strike with Sean Strickland, attempting maybe 1 takedown. I know he didn't get a takedown, but maybe he attempted 1 that I can remember. But he probably should have been going for a ton more, and then he gets knocked out by Strickland. And if you told me that Brenden Allen is going to go out here, he's going to try to get as many takedowns as possible, try to get this fight down to the mat as much as possible, I would probably bet Brenden Allen. It's just we don't know what his game plan is going to be. The guy has no takedowns in his last 3 fights. His last takedown came against Kevin Holland, who we all know who doesn't have any takedown defense. So I don't love the price. I really don't. I think Allen should win if he does go for takedowns, but if he does stand with Roberson, he's going to get knocked out. Huge pass for me. I do like the under in this fight. I think the under 2.5 is like -160. I did not play it, but if I was to bet anything on this fight, it would probably be the under. I think if Allen does get him to the mat, Roberson has been submitted 3 times. And if he does not get him to the mat, I think Roberson absolutely knocks him out. So I think both those scenarios are likely. I don't hate the under, but I'll go with Allen. I don't love it. Not much confidence because I really don't know what game plan he's going to come in here with. We can't go out here and, tell these guys what to do. I mean, they have their strengths. Sometimes they choose to fight to their strengths, like a guy like Kamar Usman. Sometimes they want to test out their striking, which would not be good here. As far as DraftKings, this is going to be one of my higher owned fights. I think Brenden Allen is going to be one of the most popular fighters on the slate due to his wrestling, grappling upside, submission upside. And Karl Roberson's not a bad underdog because if he does stuff those takedowns, or if Allen does not even shoot takedowns, he's going to get the knockout win. But should be a fun fight. I'll take Allen. Just definitely not betting it, especially with the lines at the line movement. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think it's more like a 50-50 fight because we really don't know what Allen's going to do. Is UFC 261 on right now? Nope, it's on tomorrow. Roberson gets sub. I'm leaning towards but I can't bet Brenden Allen. I'm liking the fight goes to the distance at plus 195. Maybe. I'm kind of leaning towards the under there. I really don't think Allen's wrestling is that good as everyone is making it to be. Yeah, I don't think it's that good as well. And Roberson, he's been submitted 3 times, but he's not an awful grappler. He's been submitted by Glover Teixeira, guys like that. Marvin Vettori. Roberson by KO plus 330 best value. Not a bad look there. My book only offers 1.5. Wanted to get in there, but not worth it. Yeah, I wouldn't take the under 1.5. Woodley got cut. I actually predicted that. Woodley did get cut, I heard. I don't think Allen's that great. I honestly think he's a little bit overrated. Yeah, definitely not touching him at minus 160. That's pretty insane there. I think Strickland was a tough matchup. Strickland is a dark horse in that division. Yeah, it was a tough matchup. Allen by sub plus 140, but I can't trust Allen. Over-under went from 2.5 to 1.5 at my book. It's become even more untouchable. Yeah, probably a fight you want to stay away from. Got a parlay of Sabatini, Crute, and Weili. I think it hits for you there. Do you think Allen actually gets a sub? Karl looked great, man, and I like how he looked on the skills. Time off, too, after that loss. What are you thinking? I'm leaning Allen, but you can't trust him. You can't trust that fight IQ, and I honestly don't think he's all that great either. Yeah, I wouldn't bet it. Fight IQ, please, Allen. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if people do have action on Allen and they're yelling at their TVs to shoot for a takedown. It's the fight tonight. No, it's on Saturday. All right, we'll get into the next fight here. We have Dwight Grant going against Stefan Sekulic. A really weird fight. We have Dwight Grant, and the dude's like 36 years old, 37 years old. Not the best gas tank. Did not look that great at the weigh-ins. Not much volume. I think Sekulic is a live dog. It's just the dude's coming off of a PED suspension. He hasn't fought in almost 3 years. He's not that great. Maybe he gets takedowns. Grant's takedown defense looks pretty solid. His get-up game looks pretty solid. But if Grant does not get that knockout, I mean, Sekulic can probably win just based off of doing more. Maybe Sekulic can get a late finish if Grant does gas out a little bit as well. It's just you can't trust Dwight Grant. Another guy you just can't trust because he throws no volume. He's essentially knockout or bust, so I would not recommend touching him at the minus 200, and you actually see a lot of money coming in on the Sekulic side. Grant opened up minus 270, is currently minus 200, and I kind of agree with it. I think Sekulic is live. Do I want to touch this fight? Not at all. I will side for Grant to get a knockout win. Sekulic has been knocked out before. He had a loss where he was injured. I think he broke his leg, something like that as well. But I'm going to take Grant to win by knockout. I just am not going to bet. If you're going to bet on Grant, you might as well take the KO plus 120. I was also looking at the under 2.5 in this fight as well, because if Grant wins, it's going to be inside the distance. Maybe Sekulic can find a late finish as well, but just not a fight I really want to invest money on. As far as DraftKings goes, I think Sekulic is a live dog on DraftKings that I'd probably look at. I think he has wrestling, grappling upside, training with Dusko Todorovic. Grant, you can't trust him. Grant can lose this fight if he does not get that knockout. So I think Sekulic's somebody I'm looking at as like a live dog on DraftKings, but from a betting perspective, I just can't touch it. Grant at 9,200, you kind of got to play a little bit because he's live to get a 60-second knockout in the first 60 seconds. He's live for a first-round knockout, but I'd much rather go up and get like a Kamar Usman, to be honest. So not a fight I'm looking forward to much. Kind of a weird fight, but I will side with Dwight Grant to get that knockout. Wouldn't touch it with my money. Give me Dwight Grant to find that overhand. It's very possible. I want to take Grant by KO first round, but Abdul got me scared. Yeah, I agree. A lot of these fights should not be bet on. Just a few good looks like call KO on this card and big favorites you can lay the chalk with. Yeah, kind of a weird card. I think there's a lot of great spots, but yeah, some of these fights you probably should stay away from. If you don't know when the fights are on, you should be betting. Something like that. The fights tonight, no, they're tomorrow around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. I took a half unit parlay, Valentina KO, Crute KO, Hall KO. Not bad. This is a great betting card. There is plenty of good spots, especially the props. I do agree. DC said he trained with Grant, said he's phenomenal. Him and Kane sparred with him. I'm not all that impressed. I think the guy's knockout or bust. It could be a very boring fight. Grant does feel like this week's Abdul Razak. Sekulic isn't great, but I think a decision is a good look. Just wish the odds were better. Yeah, I wouldn't. Not something I bet on, but yeah. Before we get into the next fight, if you guys can hit the like button, let's try to get 100 likes by the time we get out of here. And just want to remind you guys to tune into the live stream tomorrow at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, we'll get to the next fight. Another fight that I think is I'm not really looking forward to this fight. I see a lot of people saying this fight's going to be fantastic. I'm not really looking forward to it. I think it can be kind of like a close fight. Oliveira versus Randy Brown. And the thing about Oliveira is just we don't know which Oliveira is going to show up. Is it going to be the motivated, the good Oliveira where he comes in here, he looks really good? Or is it going to be the Oliveira that misses weight, looks terrible on the scales, looks terrible in the octagon and loses? And we just don't know. At the weigh-ins today, he looked pretty good. He made weight. That's a good sign there. I just don't really get why Brown should be, minus 170. A lot of money is coming in on the Oliveira side. He's currently minus 150. I do think the line should be a little bit closer. I don't know. I think it can go either way. I'm going to take a shot on Oliveira. I'm not going to bet it. I would never bet Alex Oliveira in my entire life just because you can't trust the guy. But I'll pick him to win. I think he can get takedowns, maybe some control time. I guess I'm worried about the cardio a little bit. But even in fights where he does slow down, kind of gas out a little bit, he's still going out there in the third round, completing takedowns. I think the striking is going to be a little bit closer than people think. But I'll take Oliveira as like a pick. I'm not betting it. I'm not betting this fight. I was kind of looking at the fight goes to decision, but another fight that I really don't want any action on as well. As far as DraftKings, this is probably going to be my least owned exposed fight. I don't really like Brown 8,700. I don't think he's going to knock out Oliveira. Oliveira in his career has only been knocked out once. Very good chin. Maybe he submits Oliveira. And then as far as Oliveira, just not a great DraftKings scorer. Don't really see him knocking out Brown. I think if Oliveira wins, it's probably by decision, doesn't score well. So out of all the fights, this is going to be my least exposed from a DraftKings perspective and passing from a betting perspective as well. I got 2 units on Randy Brown because I'm not intelligent. I mean, maybe it does hit. I just think it's going to be a lot closer than the line indicates. This fight is my signal to smoke 2 joints. Yeah, I agree. Cowboy by decision or Brown. I just don't see Brown KOing him. If Hall can't get it done, I'm screwed. He has a chance. I'll take Cowboy by decision. Even then, I don't even want to bet this fight. Oliveira by KO plus 700, maybe. He's a decent finisher. We haven't seen many finishes lately. Do I think he can get the KO? Maybe. Just not something I'm banking on. Kamar looked terrible in his last fight. Personally, I think he looked great at the weigh-ins, and he did look terrible. I actually made money betting against him in his last fight. Oliveira, 9 kids from 9 different mamas. Yes, he does. Oliveira by decision plus 330 looks too good to pass. I mean, I think the best thing to do is pass on this card or on this fight, but not a bad line. I got Brown. What's up, Hudson? How you doing? Brown by sub plus 400. Yeah, if Brown wins, it's probably by submission. Or maybe a close decision. I'm just not overly high on Randy Brown as much as a lot of people are. But with that said, we'll get into the main card here. We have a phenomenal 5 fights on this main card, a pay-per-view that I'm going to gladly lay down that $70 and get. Starting with Jimmy Crute going against Anthony Smith, another bet that I placed last week. I do have 2 units on Jimmy Crute. I got it at minus 190, so the line is right around the same where I did bet it last week. And I don't know, I kind of thought a lot more money would come in on the Crute side. I do think this guy is the real deal. And we can talk about the numbers and all that, the metrics and all that, and maybe we will talk about him. Like Anthony Smith, this guy only lands 2.94 significant strikes per minute. He absorbs 4.38, and you see the significant strike differential ratio, which is minus 1.44, which is terrible. It's horrible. And then you see a striking defense at 42%, which is horrible once more. So on the feet, yes, Smith is probably the better striker, but the guy is extremely hittable. He's taken a ton of damage, 50 fights in his career. He's only 32, but you definitely see that damage catching up on him. He hasn't looked great as of late. Yes, he got a submission win over Devin Clark, but not impressive in my opinion. And then we take a look at the grappling stats, and this is where I think it's key. Crute averages 4.33 takedowns for 50 minutes, 75% accuracy, and Smith has a 51% takedown defense, which is terrible. So I think if it's not working out on the feet for Jimmy Crute, I think he can take this down to the mat, kind of implement that Alexander Rakic game plan. Crute, who is a black belt himself, I think he can stay safe on top, possibly find a finish as well. But yeah, I like Jimmy Crute in this fight. I do have a straight bet on him. I don't know. I'm kind of looking at the under in this fight. So a ton of money's coming in all week on the over, and the fight goes to decision. We now see the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 145, which is pretty crazy. If it gets any better, I might be taking a shot on that. I don't know. I mean, you take a look at their finish stats. Like Crute has a 75% finish rate. In the UFC, he has not won by decision yet. He's had nothing but first round wins, and he had that third round win against Paul Craig. So when he's winning fights, especially as of late, he's winning them in the first round typically. And then Anthony Smith, 92% finish rate himself. When he's winning inside the distance. And then Crute has lost by submission in his only loss. And then Smith has been finished in 13 out of his 16 losses, 9 by knockout, 4 by submission. Yes, a lot of those knockout losses did come at a different weight class, but the damage is definitely catching up on him. I would not be shocked at all. And I think I'm like one of the only people that is actually taking Jimmy Crute to get a finish here. But yeah, give me Crute. As far as DraftKings goes, I love Crute. I think he has a ton of upside with the takedowns, the control time, all that good stuff. Smith, decent underdog, I guess. Maybe he can get a late finish if Crute does slow down, maybe gas out. But I really do like Crute here to get it done. And you take a look at Smith today at the weigh-ins, did not look great. He was the last one to weigh in. Did not look too good. I think Crute's ready. He's hungry, 25 years old. And I think he has a lot of upside as well. So give me Jimmy Crute for the win, and I'm going to take him to win inside the distance. But I do have that straight bet, 2 units at minus 190. And the line is currently minus 190. So kind of weird. I expected the line to get a little bit wider. Do we know anything about Crute's guy? It's not great, to be honest, but we did see him get a third-round submission win over Paul Craig, which is extremely impressive. I would say Smith's stats are skewed from the beating. I mean, he takes beatings all the time, so I wouldn't really say skewed. From Jones and Glover, still like Crute. And the thing with Smith is we have like a huge sample size with Smith, and the problem is he takes beatings in the majority of his fights. Crute hits all the metric against Smith. Very true. I've told everyone to bet Crute, and now I'm scared to pull the trigger. Crute has a gray tank brother. I think Anthony Smith's career is going. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's all that. Someone said in an interview that he was something about like he wasn't sure why they matched him up with Crute, something like that. He didn't sound all that confident. Do you think Smith sneaking in a submission of Crute takes him down? Or do I think Smith can submit Crute? I'd be kind of shocked, honestly. Like Crute, yes, he's been submitted in his only loss, but I'd be kind of shocked. I took Crute inside the distance plus 115. Jimmy with a 100% finish rate. Crute could win by KO or sub, in my opinion. I just think he finishes this. I'm with you there. Crute by, yeah, everybody's taking the Crute by decision. I guess I just don't. I think he can finish Smith. Smith fought the best of the best, though. Yes, he did for the most part. Crute is not Glover. I got to say, decision hate going against you. All good. I mean, Smith's tough. He's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. But he has been finishing 13 out of his 16 losses. Smith said he was the last to weigh in because he didn't know everyone else was going early and was upstairs chilling with his wife. Interesting. Yeah, I'm with you. I refuse to believe he's 32. He's like 70 in fight years. Anthony Smith's 50 career pro fights. Crute has 13. So much tread on the tires for Smith. Yeah, a ton. Lots of experience. Smith made Rakic look like a baby. Yeah, he did. I just don't see how Smith can win a decision. He's going to, like, for sure lose that first round. If you're on Smith, you might as well take the live bet after that first round, after he gets destroyed, more than likely. Smith only 50% finished rate. Coin flip whether this goes to decision or not. I don't get the decision love. Yeah, I'm personally going Smith inside the distance. All right, we'll go to the next fight, and I do have a bet on this fight as well. I actually have a bet on all 5 of these fights on the main card. Uriah Hall going against Chris Weidman. We see Uriah Hall open up as a slight favorite, minus 115. He's currently plus 115. So a lot of money's coming in on the Chris Weidman side. I see a lot of really sharp guys on the Weidman side, and I get it. I get it. Weidman should absolutely come in here, take down Hall, win minutes of the fight, and Hall is essentially knockout or bust. He really is. Low volume, doesn't do much. Decent takedown defense, decent get up game, but Weidman's wrestling's very good. The problem is Weidman, the guy is, getting up there in age. He is 36 years old. He's about to turn 37 in less than 2 months. You see that the damage is definitely catching up on him. He's not the same Weidman he was a few years ago. And honestly, I had a bet on Weidman in his last fight against Amari Akhmedov, and I thought he looked terrible in that fight. I thought he looked horrible. He won the first round. After that first round, he was completely gassed. But what saved him was Amari Akhmedov was gassed after like 3 minutes of the first round. You hear him huffing and puffing. And Weidman gets dominated in that second round, and then he gets a second wind and then dominates Akhmedov in that third round. A really gassed Akhmedov. Hall obviously is going to have a lot better cardio. Hall looked in phenomenal shape at the weigh-ins. And yes, I think Weidman's going to win minutes of this fight. It's just Weidman's chin is just not there. And with that bet I had on Weidman, I was cringing every time Akhmedov landing a shot. And he was landing clean shots. Yes, the chin held up against Amari Akhmedov. Is the chin going to hold up against Uriah Hall? I think no. I think no. I think the smart look is probably Weidman by decision. I just see him getting knocked out at some point in this fight. The guy's been knocked out in all 5 of his losses. The chin's not there. The durability's not there. If he shows up and his cardio is anything like it was in the last fight, Hall's going to knock him out. No doubt about that. But I do expect Weidman to win the first round, more than likely get the takedowns. But if he does slow down at any point of the fight, that's when Hall's going to knock him out. I see a Hall maybe late second round, third round finish for Hall by knockout. And I actually did pull the trigger on it. I pulled the trigger on Hall by KO, a prop that I thought was a little bit off here. We have Hall by KO. I got it at plus 215, half a unit on it. I think that his win condition, I don't see him winning a decision. I'd be very shocked. Obviously, don't see him getting a submission. I think if he wins, it's by KO, and I think that win condition is a lot more likely than the plus 215 indicates. So, yes, he's knockout or bust, but when you have Chris Weidman, who is towards the end of his career, has been knocked out in all of his losses, somebody that hits as hard as Uriah Hall, I think that plus 215 has a solid chance of hitting. But I get it. I get the love for Weidman. He absolutely has a path to victory. It's just, how can you trust him with A, no chin, B, maybe no cardio, and C, he's about to turn 37. And yes, you can say that Uriah Hall is 36 years old, but he's like a different 36 years old, if you know what I mean. He doesn't look as bad as Weidman. Man, it's kind of weird. He's like in the prime of his career, pretty much. Uriah Hall, I think he has a couple more years left in him, whereas you have Weidman, who I do think he is, definitely on his way out. But give me Hall by KO. As far as DraftKings that you want to target both sides, you can have Weidman, who's going to score a ton with the wrestling grappling. 7,900, I really like that. He's a favorite as an underdog price on DraftKings. And then you have Uriah Hall, 8,300, who can get that knockout. But definitely a fight you do want to target on the DraftKings side. But I did take a small shot on the Hall by KO, as I do think that's how he does win. So what do you guys have in the chat? He beat Hall before. Yeah, that was like 10 years ago, dude. That was like 10 years ago. I think Hall is KO or bust. If he lands enough times to a decision, he'll just knock Chris out. Yeah, I think he's KO or bust as well. But I think that KO is a little bit more likely than the plus 215 indicates. Hall KO plus money, grab it while you can. Weidman going to sleep. I'm kind of with you there. Weidman last losses by KO. Hall by KO plus 185, half a unit. I like it. Hall going to KO him. He beat Hall over 10. Yeah, it was a while ago. Completely different fight here. Yeah, he looked awful, and I had a bet on him. I thought he looked terrible. Hall is such a slow start. Yeah, he's a slow starter, but he does look for that one punch. I'm not sure cardio will be an issue with a low volume striker. I mean, if he strikes with Hall, he's probably getting knocked out. If he wrestles with Hall, then that's where I do have concerns about the cardio. If Weidman does not gas and get takedowns, he wins. I agree. If either don't happen, I see Hall breaking him down. His best days are behind him. I think his best days are way behind him here. I'm fading this fight on DK. I see it as a high ownership fight that could score crap. Maybe. I mean, I could see it scoring crap if Hall gets dominated for 2 rounds and finds that third round knockout. But other than that, it probably should score decently. If you bet, no, I see a ton of really sharp guys that are on Weidman. I just think he's going to get knocked out. Could be wrong, though. Fox has Hall inside the distance plus 225. Good line there. All 5 of Weidman's career losses are by KO, and Hall has a 75% career KO rate, which is really good. So that KO prop is a safe look. Yeah, good look. It's a good look. Interesting look there. I'm personally taking Usman Masvidal to go to the decision. I think they all can go to decision. Maybe Shevchenko Andrade finishes. Weidman will smooch him. People are still living. Yeah, they're acting like this is the Weidman of a few years ago. The damage is caught up, but he definitely could win this fight. It's just I think he gets knocked out. The general. If Crute turns into a wrestling match, he can win, I suppose. Yeah, but I'm curious to see how that cardio holds up. Yeah, I agree. It's pretty crazy. Decent look there. The round 3 prop is a decent look. All right, but we'll get into the next fight here, and we have the first of 3 title fights. We have Valentina Shevchenko going against Jessica Andrade, and the line is getting a little insane here. On one of the books, it has like Valentina hit the minus 500 mark, and don't necessarily agree with that, but I do have a bet on this fight. She is going to be the first leg of my parlay. You guys know I love doing those 2-leggers, but I got her at minus 365. I think that's a little bit more reasonable. And like somebody earlier in the stream mentioned, everybody's doing the and still parlay, which is something I actually thought about. But I do have that 2-leg parlay. And it's a really big play for me. This is going to be my biggest play of the night. I have 2.5 units on Shevchenko parlayed with Usman at minus 165. I think currently that's like minus like 200, even worse on some books now. So it looks like everybody's doing that. But I do like it. And I do like Shevchenko in this fight as well. I actually kind of like Shevchenko to get a finish as well. And it might be something I'm looking at, the under 4.5 where the fight doesn't go to decision, because Andrade, I think, is going to really draw a very exciting fight out of Shevchenko. She's going to be coming forward, trying to take Shevchenko's head off, trying to get Shevchenko down to the mat. And Shevchenko is just very technical, more technical than Andrade by a mile. And the thing with Andrade, yes, she does a ton, but with doing a ton, it does leave a ton of openings for her to get hit. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Andrade is extremely hittable. She does absorb punches with her face. Terrible striking defense. And I think Shevchenko, especially in the bigger cage, can kind of stick to the outside for the most part and just pick apart Andrade. I think the damage will add up throughout the fight. And I can see a late finish for Shevchenko. But yeah, people are taking shots on Andrade. I guess I don't hate it. I mean, the line, I do agree, is getting a little bit crazy. But it's really hard to go against Shevchenko here. I do think she can stick to the outside and really pick apart Andrade. As far as the DraftKings perspective, 9,500. I mean, for me personally, it's kind of hard to play a ton of Shevchenko just because I like Kamar Usman so much. But I think she's a decent play. Like I said, I think Andrade is going to really draw the fight out of Shevchenko. And I think a Shevchenko finish is definitely on the table, because Andrade, not great defense. And I can definitely see a scenario where she does get head kick knocked out. As far as Andrade as like a live dog, a punt play, I don't hate it, I guess. If she can get takedowns, maybe she does find the finish, but I just see it hard. I find it hard for Andrade to be finishing Shevchenko when Amanda Nunes couldn't. But give me Shevchenko. I do have her in that parlay, and it will be the biggest play of the night. So hopefully she gets it done. See what we got in the chat here. Masvidal line. Yeah, some of the line movement on this card has been absolutely crazy. This fight ends at the distance. I'm kind of with you there, and it might be a potential play. Make sure you guys tune into the betting breakdown video. I'm about to record it sometime tonight. Parlays are going to mess up everybody's parlays. Can't wait. Don't really agree with that. I'd be kind of shocked if he did. I got Rose by KO inside the distance. We'll talk about that next. Man, I'm more confident in Weili than Usman or Valentina. If I had to rank them in confidence, I'd probably go Usman, Weili, and then Valentina would be my least confident, but I still think she gets it done. Inside the distance odds, we have Shevchenko inside the distance at plus 110. I don't love it. Jorge inside the distance. Shevchenko by bloody annihilation. Do you not think Usman's going to get baited into striking with Masvidal for looking for the finish? I mean, no, I don't think he'll do that. I'm pretty sure he wants to win this fight. Thought Masvidal looked better at distance in the first fight. Yeah, I mean, if it's a striking fight, Masvidal is going to have the edge there. I just think that, Usman's not going to do that. Could be a decent strategy bet Valentina after round 1. Yeah, I can see that as well. I'm thinking like a late finish. Stay away from women's MMA. All y'all friends, don't let friends bet on women's MMA unless it's Amanda Nunes or Valentina Shevchenko. I have Chef by decision plus 140. She has so many decision finishes, and I can't overlook Andrade in the championship rounds. Will be sketchy, though. Could be some sketchy moments. No, I agree. I agree with you. Shevchenko has never been knocked down in the UFC. Yeah, there you go. And Andrade has a surprisingly low knockdown per 15 minutes ratio of at 0.25. So she doesn't have as much power as people think. Interesting stat there. Weili destroyed Andrade. Yeah, like a couple minutes there. I expect the same from Valentina. Jorge by brutal KO. You better win me money. I hopefully win some money this week. I'm feeling pretty good. Usman has a chin. Don't be, yeah, people. I mean, Usman's never been knocked down in the UFC. But yeah, we'll get into the co-main event. And this is probably the fight I'm looking forward to the most. Zhang Weili going against Namajunas. And I have a bet on this fight. I have a straight bet on Zhang Weili. I got her at, I believe, minus 187. 2 units on it. And I like that play. A ton of people are on the Rose side. I get it. I think this fight could be somewhat competitive in the first couple rounds. But after those first couple rounds, I think the damage is going to start to add up. I think that, Rose could possibly slow down as the fight goes on. In the Andrade fight, both of them actually, but in the second one especially, we saw Rose slow down a ton. And Andrade, I thought Andrade was like about to get a finish there. Like she was piecing apart Namajunas in that third round. If you slow down against Zhang Weili, you're going to be in for a really long night or a really short night. Like she is very, very powerful. She hits hard. And Rose Namajunas, like I said, if she does slow down, it's going to be a tough night for her. As far as like the ground game goes, a lot of people are saying maybe a Namajunas sub is on the table. I don't know. Zhang has a 100% takedown defense. She is jacked city. I don't see her taking down Weili. I'd be kind of shocked if she did. I think if takedowns come in this fight, maybe it's Weili mixing in a takedown late in the rounds to seal it off. But I'd be kind of shocked if Rose Namajunas did get a takedown in this fight. Like Weili's takedown defense is legit. It's only getting better. I was listening to an interview with her coach, and the coach said that this is going to be the best Weili we've ever seen. And that's terrifying because she looked phenomenal in the Andrade fight. She looked pretty good in the Joanna fight as well. And if we do get the best Weili, I do think she does take Namajunas out late in the fight, or at least win those last 3 rounds. I do think the first round and a half, 2 rounds are going to be competitive. But I think as the fight goes on, you got to favor Weili. And I don't see Namajunas knocking out Weili, who, 1, has never been knocked out, and 2, Namajunas has only 1 KO win on her record. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people think Namajunas has like so much power, and she has decent power, a couple knockdowns in the UFC, but she only has 1 knockout win. And I'd be kind of surprised if she did knock out Weili. So give me Weili. Give me Weili inside the distance, but like I said, I did bet it straight, 2 units, minus 187. I really do like that play. But the line has not moved since I bet it. I bet it last week. Brady not pulling up my comments again. This is the first comment I've seen of yours, so my bad. What's up with your profile picture there? You have Locke, Guru, Clint, and me. Interesting. Yeah, I took Zhang KO. Don't hate it. Weili will get it done. Stack and cash, maybe a stack and cash. For me, I want to make sure I get my Usman. I want to make sure I get my Shevchenko. Rose is not a bad play in cash, I'd say. Andrade is not a bad play in cash, I'd say, just because of how cheap she is. DFS, didn't you have Askren versus Jorge? I don't remember, but I do remember winning a lot of money on that fight with Jorge, knocking him out. No, I had Jorge in that fight. I picked against Ben Askren all 3 of his fights. So yeah, I had Jorge. Relax and take notes. I think Rose might get a quick finish. I just don't see that. I mean, she has 1 knockout win. Is she going to take down Weili? I don't think so. I'm the least confident in Zhang Weili out of the big 3, and still parlay. Yeah, my least confident is going to be the Shevchenko, honestly, and she's the biggest favorite out of all 3. I think Andrade might hit harder than Zhang, but either way, Rose fading late is scary. You do not want to fade late against Weili, that's for sure. Zhang is a state-sponsored killer. 21 straight wins, easy pick. Yeah, she is on a roll. The fights are on Sunday. They are on Saturday, 6:00 p.m. Eastern time. Man, now you and everybody else, plus 130. You and everybody else. Give me my mate Daza and Banks a shout out. Game Bread. Shout out to Daza and Banks. It's my personal account, Brady. I have all my favorite UFC predictors up there, brother. DFS play numbers. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Appreciate that, Justin. Can't wait for the fights tonight. My goodness, me either. Weili, like I said, I think the first 2 rounds are going to be competitive, especially with the bigger cage. But after those, the damage adds up. We know who the harder hitter is in this fight. But we'll get into the next fight. More confident in Weili or Crute? I'd say Crute. But a ton of action on this main card for me. Like, just Usman alone, I have so much invested in on him that if he loses, it's going to be a bad night. If he wins, it's probably a good night. And, rolling right into that, Kamar Usman, I like him a lot here in this fight. We've heard it all week, the narrative of Jorge has had a full camp. But I remember recording a video talking about how Usman's going to beat Masvidal in the last time. And all I heard in the comments was, yeah, Masvidal's been training, man. He's been training for months, getting ready for this fight. Now all of a sudden it's flipped and saying, hey, he took it on short notice. Now he has a full camp. So I don't get that. And the thing with this fight is Usman has had a full camp for Masvidal. You got to remember that Usman was training for Gilbert Burns, which was a completely different stylistic fight. In that Burns fight, he did not want to take Burns down because of how dangerous he is on the mat. In this fight, you got to believe that he's going to take down Masvidal. And I really like Usman in the spot. I really like him to make this fight a quote-unquote boring fight. At least a lot of people are going to think it's boring. We're going to see a lot of people on Twitter complaining about Usman's the most boring fighter. The foot stomps. And I'm going to be sitting there, hopefully, counting my money because I love boring fighters. I love fighters that go out there. They know their strengths. They go out there. They don't look for an exciting fight. They look for that win. And that's exactly what I like with Usman. And I love fighters like that. There's just some fighters that you can trust in, pretty much any fight. Like fighters like Amanda Nunes, fighters like Khabib, fighters like Shevchenko, fighters like Usman. People always bet against these fighters. And obviously they lose a ton. I'm not one to bet against those fighters ever. I'm always betting on those fighters because of how reliable they are. And I'm gonna bet Usman here as well. I have him in that parlay to close out with Shevchenko, that 2-legger. 2 fighters I really do like to win. -165, 2.5 units on it. My biggest bet of the night. And then I also have Kamar Usman wins by decision. -110, 1.3 units on that. And then I also sprinkled the round 4 and round 5 props. I got round 5 plus 1,900, 0.1 units. Round 4 plus 1,800, 0.1 units on it. So as long as Usman wins, and he wins in either rounds 4, 5, or decision, it's going to be a pretty good night. Which is kind of scary because the last time where Usman fought Gilbert Burns, I did bet the 4-5 in decision as well. And Usman knocked him out in the 3rd round, which is very unfortunate. But unlike Gilbert Burns, Masvidal has A, cardio, and B, durability. I don't think Burns has either of those. Masvidal, in I want to say he's 50 fights. He has a ton of fights. 49 fights. He's only been knocked out once. So I don't see Usman knocking him out, especially early. But I could see him wearing him down and getting him out there late in the fight. So yeah, as long as Usman wins rounds 4 or 5 decision, I'm going to be rolling on the night. But yeah, give me Usman here. But again, a lot of people are going to be betting Masvidal. And I saw a really interesting stat on Twitter that you see 80% of the bets are on Masvidal. 80%, 90% of the bets are on Masvidal. But then you see that 80%, 90% of the actual money is coming on the Usman. So that kind of tells you there that a lot of the fans are taking a shot on Masvidal. The line maybe be tempting. Maybe they think he gets a knockout. But the actual money, the big money, is coming on the Usman side. And we see that time and time again. So, yeah, Masvidal's been being a little annoying. I agree. I was a huge fan of Masvidal, but he's acting a little different. I'm not really digging it anymore. Usman is too legit and definitely see him winning by decision. I picked Game Bread last fight, and after those fights Usman had, I can't see him losing the belt anytime soon. Yeah, Usman is the real deal. Yeah, interesting you say that because I did see on Embedded, my buddy Danny pointed this out that he was actually limping off the plane. So now that you say that, maybe something is wrong with that foot because he was indeed limping, which the foot stomps will not be good for that. I know Joel is on Masvidal there, but yeah, we will see some foot stomps. You may think they're cringe. I'm gonna love it. Over 2.5 has better odds than Usman. Yeah, I mean, if he wins, it's probably over the 2.5 mark. If you look into the numbers, the clear it becomes that it's going to take something special. He's going to need a knockout. He's going to need a knockout. Lucky or both in order for Masvidal to get the win. He's not going to win a decision. You're right. And Usman never takes stupid chances. He's people call it a boring fighter. I call it a moneymaker. Masvidal by flying armbar. I don't know about that. Brady, the type of guy to say goodness when Jake knocked out Askren. I did say goodness. Because I picked I did pick Jake. I picked him very confidently, but did I expect him to do that to Ben? And no way. Guys, what are you doing? The main event's on in 10 minutes. Better catch it there. How can you call yourself a champion by holding someone for 5 rounds and doing foot stomps? Ridiculous. Yeah. A lot of people don't like that. But I kind of get what you're saying. But it's just what he's good at. He's dominant in one area of the fight, and that's what he goes to. He's a champion for that reason. Masvidal has amazing durability. Yes, he does. He's very tough. I agree with your picks. Great breaking on the Usman fight. Kamar is a lock. You don't use the lock word, but yeah, I do think he's should get it done. Definitely not a lock. I agree. Contrarian play in GBP to fade all title fights. Yeah, I'm going to have some lineups without him. And I'm not going to go the ownership for DraftKings on the title fights is going to be insane. I can honestly see a scenario where maybe only one of them ends up on the optimal lineup. So I wouldn't be going crazy on it. Usman will KO him. If he does, hopefully it's late. Masvidal by flying armbar, bet the house on that. UFC 217 scenario, every champ dethroned. If every champ on this card gets dethroned, I'm going to be broke. So hopefully it's not happen. What do you have on Crute? I have 2 units at minus 190. 2 units on Crute straight, yes, sir. Can we talk about the Romanov stunt? Dude quit off a dead leg from I don't really want to talk about it, but let's just say that cost me a couple $1,000s. I needed a Espino decision win to get a takedown on DraftKings. So yeah, Romanov, you cost me 1K, buddy. So and unfortunate, very unfortunate. I do not. Like, those lines were crazy. Funny thing is, foot stomps has been an MMA wrestling technique since the beginning of time. Usman does it, and it becomes a meme. Yeah. Namajunas by decision, maybe. Masvidal sounds sick. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. But yeah, guys, a couple things before we get out of here, and then I'll kind of go over my bets. I know I have a ton of them, so lot we had to talk about. I know we're going a little bit over an hour here, but I just want to say, first off, thank you all for hanging out. As always, had a pretty good amount of people in this chat. I know we have PFL going on, so sweet. And then going live tomorrow for the fights, 5:00 p.m. Eastern time, 1 hour by the fights. Come hang out. By then, I'll have all my bets placed. I'm looking at a few more spots potentially. My DraftKings lineup's done. Ownership should be up to date, projected there. I do want to shout out the sponsor, Pub Sports Radio Live. They're live currently for the PFL. So after this, you can go check them out. They're doing live betting, live commentary. Maybe I'll hop on there and then going live for the fights tomorrow as well. I might be able to go on there tomorrow for the fights. Not 100% sure on it, but we go live over there pretty much every day a week. You have Clint over there for the Dire MMA podcast. You have guys doing the horses, other sports as well. Baseball, basketball, football, that good stuff. And then I will be going live every Thursday over there with my show where I do bring on a new guest each week. Big announcement that I am going to Las Vegas next week. I'm heading out Wednesday night. So all my content is going to be moved up a couple of days. My full card breakdown video is going to be out early Tuesday morning. My live stream that is typically on Friday at this time, it's going to be at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday evening. My betting breakdown video will be posted like Wednesday morning. So everything is getting shifted up one day, and then maybe I'll go live Wednesday as well. But going to Vegas for a couple days. So I do want to get all my content out early. But yeah, we'll go into the bets real quick. Usman has a foot fetish. He may. Brady, you're really good at it. That's what I like to think. I mean, I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I do believe if you do put a lot of time and effort into something, it does pay off, and it has. Espino's winning that. You got robbed. Very surprised when Romanov got his hand raised. Yeah, I was sick to my stomach, especially. Well, first of all, initially I was sick to my stomach, and then I went back and saw that, hey, I was an Espino decision away from a couple thousand. Devastating. Brady, come watch Shrek with me. I'm down. All right, so we'll go over the bets real quick, and then we'll head out of here. So I have 3 straight bets. Zhang Weili, minus 187, 2 units on it. The line has not moved since then, really. Jim Crute, minus 190, 2 units on it. The line has not moved since then. Dana Baccarel, minus 138, 1.5 units on it. That line has shifted a ton, and I might be looking at that knockout prop for Dana. So that might be a potential add-on there. The only parlay I have this week is going to be Kamar Usman versus Valentina Shevchenko. Minus 165, 2.5 units on it. It's going to be my biggest play of the night. I need that to hit. I have the Carnelosi fight versus Liang Na under 2.5 rounds, minus 125, 1.5 units on it. I took a small stab on Liang by submission, plus 500, 0.25 units on it. I have Kamar Usman wins by decision, minus 110, 1.3 units on it. And I have the sprinkles of Kamar Usman in rounds 5, both 0.1 units on it. And then I also have a shot on Uriah Hall by knockout, 0.5 units on it. Thank you all for hanging out. If you guys can please like the video. I see we hit over 100. Thank you guys for that. Also subscribe. Would really appreciate that. Yes, sir. See you in Vegas, James. Can't wait. Gonna be fun. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. You are correct there. But yeah, if you guys want to check out some more content, you can check out the Patreon. Just added the new advanced stat model courtesy of Uncle Weezy. Lots of great stuff on there. Added the optimizer as well. Have over 300 members in there now. I think we're about to approach a record on the Patreon members as well. Come check out the Discord. Come hang out with us in the Discord on fight nights. And throughout the week, we're like very active. I think it's probably one of the most active Discords out there. And already have one bet for UFC Vegas. I think 25 it is for next week as well. So I'm trying to dig into that card so I can enjoy my vacation in Vegas. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Weili, Sabatini, my parlay. I think it does hit there, Joel. Was a great show, Brady. Wishing you all the best of luck and good luck on Saturday. Good luck to you as well. Kamar Usman versus Valentina Shevchenko. I'll take Usman there. Gotta love when the likes. Oh yeah, it's a good feeling. Appreciate that, Joel. Thanks for breaking down the dog. Appreciate that, Carlo. Hit the likes. I agree. By the way, the Uncle Weezy sheet is straight fire. Yeah, shout out to Uncle Weezy. He puts so much time and effort into everything he does, man. I mean, it's crazy the amount of stuff he has on here. So yeah, definitely shout to Uncle Weezy. He was also doing some extra video content as well on here. So yeah, Uncle Weezy's the man for sure. Thanks, Brady. No problem. Good luck on Saturday, General. And good luck, Justin. I'm gonna head out here, guys. Good luck to you guys, and talk to you on my live stream on Tuesday evening, 7:00 p.m. Eastern time.